It is now my extreme pleasure to introduce the next speaker. Stacci has been a member of Toastmasters since 2012. She has served in all the club officers' roles and many of the district leadership roles. This presentation delves into not only the what, but the why of leadership. And let me put it to you like this. If you don't think an old dog, and you're not an old dog, Stacci, but an older person can't learn new things, for a number of meetings when we started going on Zoom, because of her background, she was headless. She won't be headless today. She'll be here all in person, and we're going to be delighted to have you give your presentation.
Thank you, Bert. Bert doesn't know, so y'all don't tell him. I actually, after that first time, I went headless just because it drove Bert crazy. All right. Welcome to Why Lead. So, all of our leaders, I'm glad all of you are here because you can help me out tonight. Barbara actually started us off with a great question. She said, "What is your why? Why did you join Toastmasters?" Well, there was one answer that I did not hear. So, I'm going to ask that question just a little bit differently. Here's my question. Did any of you, raise your hand if you did any of you join Toastmasters to lead? You didn't care anything about that stinking communication stuff. You wanted to lead. How many of you joined just for the sole purpose of being in leadership? Anybody? I don't see any hands raised, so I'm going to assume, there's one. Teresa joined to learn about leadership. Very few people. There's another. Good for you, Laura. I've run into very few people who joined to learn about leadership. Most people say, I joined because I wanted to be a better speaker. I joined because I need to improve my communication, or I need to get out of being shy, or I need to present in front of a lot of people and I'm really nervous about it and I want to get rid of the nervousness. Very few people said they joined to be a leader. There's Maureen. All right. So we do have a few leaders in here. But it's different when you join. Most of the time, you join for the communication, and then you're coerced into leadership, or you're begged into leadership, or maybe somebody encourages you to step up into leadership. So tonight we're going to talk about why lead, and it's not what you think. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about the district. So by the time we finish this presentation, you should be able to identify the qualities of a good leader, recognize the importance of good leadership, and then understand how District 63 is organized and how serving in the district helps both you as a member, helps the clubs, helps the district, and also helps Toastmasters International. So when I started researching for this particular presentation, I started at the beginning. What is a leader? What is a leader? We need a definition so that we'll know what we're talking about, right? So I went to the repository of all things, Google, and I said, define leader. A leader is a person who leads. Wow. That was really helpful, wasn't it? A leader is a person who leads. And leadership, I suppose, is somebody who is practicing the art of leading. That's not very helpful at all. So somebody else give me a definition. Does anybody have a good definition of a leader? Raise your hand if you have a good definition of a leader. There's one. Ruth's phone. I'm sorry, Ruth's phone. I don't know your name. Could you give me a definition of a leader?
Yes, I believe that's me. My name is Rulfi, so that the pronunciation wasn't really quite well there, but that's fine.
All right.
I learned a good quote from for a leadership, leader, and I think a leader is the capacity to influence people through inspiration,
Okay.
motivated by a passion that is generated from a vision, produced by a conviction, and ignited by a purpose. And then we have a leader.
And then we have a good leader. That's great. Thank you, Ruthie. All right, Kelly, what's our definition of a leader?
I think a leader is someone who does the right thing.
That's good. Someone who does the right thing. Anybody else have a definition? one of the definitions that I ran across. Bert, is that you? What's your definition of a leader, Bert?
You people keep making the mistake of calling on me. I've been thinking a lot about this recently, and I'm not maybe talking about a leader of a country, but maybe a leader at work, or maybe a leader in your Toastmasters club, or somebody like that. And there's a number of traits I look for, and one of them is trustworthy. They have to be trustworthy. If they tell you they're going to do something, they've got to do it. Another thing I look for, and this is a little philosophical, but a good leader really doesn't tear down anybody else. He builds everybody up, or else he just doesn't say anything. I think a good leader will manage to lead without tearing anybody else down. He can build other people up. And the third thing, and this is turning into my speech, which I have to stop soon, is he has to be relevant. For example, if I was an excellent person on Windows 10 and I was a leader in Windows 10, and all of a sudden new people started coming on and they do Windows 11, I'm not relevant anymore. And I have to become relevant to the new people and not stay in my old ways. So I think a leader is in front, but he's willing. And I remember reading in the book, My American Journey. Oh, this is going to get long. No, it isn't. By Colin Powell. He was a general in charge of a bunch of tanks in Fool's Gap, which was where the Russians would come through if there was ever a Second World War, Third World War. And he went down as a general, and he got qualified as a gunner. And so I think every leader ought to know how to do every job and be at least familiar with the learning program. I'm done. I'm complete. Sorry.
All right. Thank you, Bert. Thank you. Skip. How do you define leader?
Among other things, somebody who sets the proper example.
That's good. Example. That's good. Dustin, how about you?
My definition of a leader is someone who genuinely cares for the development of their friend, their peer, their direct reports, employees, whoever it may be. It's that genuine passion to develop them, to coach them, to provide opportunities. That's my definition of a leader.
All right, that's good. Thank you. Trevor, how about you?
So we often think of leaders as elected, right? So we have the officers in our club, for instance, but simply having that title, I don't think really makes a leader. In my mind, a great definition is a servant leader, who's willing to get in there and do the work, who's been going to be there to help other people be successful. Not throwing a title around, but instead being willing to serve and help others be successful as a true leader.
That's good. Thank you. Betsy and Alan.
One who brings out the best in the people being led.
That's good. That's very
It's
good. All right.
it's also one who is willing to take on the responsibility of leadership.
There you
And
go.
I
Somebody.
think we've heard you want to lead by example, and you want to be building people up and not tearing them down. We've heard that, but I think that's very true.
All right, that's good. Thank you, Alan. That's fantastic. Anna, I'm not sure if your name's Anna or Anala.
Thank you. I'm Anala.
Anala, thank you.
And I believe that a good leader not only speak from a good platform of leadership, but also a good leader has to be mindful of their nonverbal action as well, because a lot of times a person can say something, but then what are people looking at? So it's very important, I believe, that a good leader also is conscious of the body language they use when they are leading other people.
That's fantastic. You guys are so good. You're doing my presentation for me. Maybe I can just go home and let you guys take care of the presentation. You're actually talking about leaders and what are leaders, and also what is a good leader. Well, I came up with this definition. Let's see what you think. A leader is someone who takes responsibility for getting something done. That's really it. It's someone who steps up and says, I'll be responsible for that. Can we all agree that that's our definition just for leader, not good leader, bad leader, just leader in general. Somebody who takes responsibility for getting something done. All right. So let's move on. A leader, and this is some of the definitions that you guys were giving me. A good leader is someone who inspires passion. They motivate their followers. They have a vision and a path to get there. And they ensure that their team has the support and the tools that they need. I found this definition from John Maxwell, and this was interesting. Leadership's taking responsibility while others are making excuses. Has anyone ever asked you to serve in leadership, or have you ever asked someone else to step up and serve in leadership and they said, oh, I'm too busy. I got school. The kids have got ball. I can't fit it in. I just have too much stuff. Are they taking responsibility, or are they making excuses? Think about that the next time someone asks you about serving in leadership. Are all leaders good? Are all leaders good leaders? I think we can agree. No, there's some really bad leaders out there. Sometimes we run into them at work. Sometimes we run into them in other situations, but there are some bad leaders. A leader should listen. They should inspire, motivate, give direction, have a common goal to aspire to. A lot of the things that you guys have been saying about good leaders. A good leader can inspire anyone in the organization to do their very best. I think I heard Bert or someone mention that. They inspire everyone within the organization. Leadership can occur anywhere. That's interesting, isn't it? Think about a good student as an example of a leader, because they're taking responsibility for getting their work done and they're leading by example. Isn't that a great definition of a leader? So what do good leaders do? They introduce changes, help people fulfill needs, resolve conflicts. Ooh, we need that within any organization, right? They resolve conflicts. They provide guidance, establish a vision, improve morale. That's something I don't remember hearing. They need to improve morale for the whole organization, and they create positive work environments. I think that's where a lot of leaders fail, is in that work environment, because a lot of times I've worked in environments that were not that friendly or conducive. So what separates good leaders from bad leaders? Now this is interesting. While I was doing some research, I ran across a guy named Simon Sinek. And in 2014, he did a TED Talk. We're all familiar with TED Talks, right? 15-minute TED Talk led to a book that was very successful, which led to a multi-million-dollar consulting and speaking business that he now has. Pretty successful, right? In this TED Talk, he did a lot of research for companies that were both successful and unsuccessful. And then he boiled it down to his formula about why he thinks companies succeed. And he called it the golden circle. The golden circle. Okay. Golden circle consists of actually a couple of circles within each other. What, how, and why. So let me give you an example that Simon used. He took a look at Apple. And we all know Apple. They're the maker of everything. iPads, iPods, everything. What is the purpose of Apple's business? Anybody want to take a guess? Why is Apple in business? They're in business to make money. That's why anybody's in business, right? They want to make money. They want to be successful. How are they making money? Well, they're selling computers and computer stuff, electronics, let's say. Now we get to the why. Why are they in business? Okay, here's Apple's stated reason, their mission statement, if you will. It says to bring the best personal computing products and support to students, educators, designers, scientists, engineers, business persons, and consumers throughout the world. Now, according to Simon's theory, he says that companies are successful if they get that why right, because people will buy into the why, whereas they won't buy into the rest of it. There are a lot of companies out there who are making good computer products, good electronics. Why is Apple so successful? He says it's because people buy into their why, because they want to provide the best personal computing products. And everybody wants to be part of the best, right? That's why Apple's successful. Let me give you another example. Do any of you know what Google's mission statement is? You know, Google, where you go out and Google everything. Now it's become a term like Kleenex. It means tissue, right? Google is a common word we use for going out and looking up something on the internet. Google's mission statement says to organize the world's information and make it universally acceptable and useful. Well, who wouldn't want to buy into that, right? Did you know that Google is the most successful search tool in the world? They have an 88% share over the second leading search tool, which is Bing. Not bad. Let's look at a couple of maybe not so successful examples. Some of you may remember this, some of you may not, but in 1985, Coca-Cola decided to launch a brand new product. They called it New Coke. They changed their formula that had not been changed for 99 years. Why do you think they changed their formula? You think all of their customers were saying, oh, we want a new taste. We don't like the old taste of Coke. We've been drinking it for 99 years. We want something new. No. Coke's why? They changed their formula because Pepsi-Cola was getting a bigger share of the market. Do you think people cared whether or not Coke got their market share back? No, they didn't care. They cared about how Coke tasted. And New Coke did not taste good. No one liked it. It lasted a few months and they had to pull it off the market and go back to their original Coke formula. It didn't work. Another example, more recent, 2005. Company named Frito-Lay, and I'm sure most of you have heard of Frito-Lay, decided that they wanted to branch out into another market so that they could make more money. And they made the unfortunate decision of branching into chapstick. Believe it or not, they introduced a Cheetos flavored chapstick. Now, I don't know about you. I like Cheetos. I even like licking that cheese off the ends of my fingers. But Cheetos chapstick, I don't think so. It lasted only a few weeks and they had to pull it off the market. They didn't have the right why. No one cared about why they were doing it, and no one liked the product. So let's see how the golden circle works for Toastmasters. Somebody raise your hand and tell me what we do in Toastmasters. What do we do? If someone asks you, what does Toastmasters do? What would you say? There you go, Teresa. What does Toastmasters do?
I would say that Toastmasters, I don't know if the right word is build or create leaders.
Okay.
I think that's what Toastmasters does.
Create
And
leaders.
Create leaders.
All right. Valerie, how about you? You're on mute, Valerie.
Sorry. Okay. I would say Toastmasters helps to build confidence.
Oh, build confidence. That's good. All right. Thank you. Denise McBride, what do you say Toastmasters does? You're on mute.
Sorry. A little bit of what everyone else said. I would only add to it that I believe they give you the tools to become a leader and also to enhance whatever skills you already have and to carry them forward.
Okay, that's good. I like that. It's very good. Shatona, how about you?
I say that Toastmasters not only builds, but they create effective speakers.
There you go. Very good. Very good. Mark Oshman.
I'm going to steal a line from the Army. Toastmasters helps you be what you can be.
That's good. I like that. Good line. Justin, how about you?
Toastmasters is a place that provides a safe environment that fosters personal growth, leadership skills, and public speaking skills.
Oh, that's good. You guys are so good at this. All right, I'm going to make it even simpler than that. I'm going to say at the very, very basic level, we teach communication and leadership skills. Regardless of how well you learn them, how much you put into it, how much you get out of it, that's basically what we do. We're teaching communication and leadership skills. So how do we go about doing that? Anybody want to take a guess at that one? How do we go about doing that? How is Toastmasters set up to teach communication and leadership skills? Anybody want to guess? Justin.
The roles, I think, is a big part because it fosters everybody having to participate and speak, and provides the structure as well.
There you go. Absolutely. Shatona.
But before you can do that, you have to build a trust. You have to build trust. And so it brings you in and creates that wall of trust. So you can put down your walls to deliver and not be judged.
Okay, good. That's very good. Chris, how about you?
So Toastmasters provides a safe environment where you can make mistakes and you get very constructive feedback, and you can also practice giving feedback, which is something that's not it's not too common these days.
That's good. Thank you. That's excellent. Letha, how about you?
I would say practice, because with the speeches that you give and then with the pathways, they give you the resources, and then with the meetings, you get to practice and practice.
That's good. Absolutely. Repetition. Alan and Betsy.
This is Alan. I think in Toastmasters, we give people a chance to grow. We let them speak, or we let them take on roles in meetings, and we will evaluate what they are doing, their speech or their activity, but we don't do it in a negative way. I know when I am evaluating a speech, I try to say what's good about it, and then I'll think of some little points that they might want to improve, and I will suggest those points. And I don't say that speech really stunk, or you were saying and too much. No, I'll say you should be working toward greater clarity in your speech and try to express things in a supportive and a positive way.
That's good. Positive feedback. You're absolutely right. Dustin, how about you?
I think one of the most important aspects of the how is you have to sell it. You have to sell it to guests. You have to sell the trust. You have to sell the experience and what it's going to build for each individual. And having successful meetings, really diving into positive communication when it comes to evaluations that Alan was speaking of, and building that trust. So it's all about, like you said, most companies are in it for the money. So money comes from sales, and you just have to sell the experience. So that's how I believe how Toastmasters gets the how.
That's good. And you know what? All of you are right. I wish we could write all of those answers in this circle, because all of you are right. We need all of those things to make it successful. So I went a little simpler. I said, how do we do this? Well, if I can get my computer there you go. We create clubs of 20 to 25 members, and then those members work together to do all of those things that you guys just talked about. That's how we go about making this a successful business, right? Now, why is Toastmasters in business? Why does Toastmasters do what it does? Does anybody know the mission statement for Toastmasters International? Anybody?
Not by heart.
Okay, me either, not by heart, but we empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders.
Right.
That's it. Now, Again, let's test it out. Do you think people buy into our why? Or buy into the fact that we set up clubs, or buy into the fact that we teach? They can go to a lot of places and learn to speak, or even to learn leadership skills, but they come to Toastmasters. Do you think they do it because our stated goal is to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders? That's what makes Toastmasters successful. And to be honest with you, I think that that's exactly what makes our clubs successful. If our clubs can hold on to that one piece. How many of you know how Toastmasters started? Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters, was working at a YMCA back during the Depression. He had a number of young men, because YMCA meant men only back then. He had a number of young men who were coming in, and talking with them, he realized these guys were never going to be able to get ahead in life. They were never going to be able to get a good job and better themselves if they could not present themselves well, if they could not speak. So he began getting them together in little small sessions, and they would give speeches and evaluate each other. That's how Toastmasters started. Again, it's empowering individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. From there, it took off. Every YMCA wanted to have a Toastmasters group associated with it. So as long as we hold true to that the reason our club exists is so that we can empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders, I think our clubs will be successful. Okay, so the question comes back to why lead? Now, by why lead, I do not mean why should you go into leadership? Obviously, you should go into leadership. There's a lot to learn there. Not only that, we need leaders. No organization can exist and no endeavor can be successful without someone stepping up and taking a leadership role, taking responsibility, right? So the first question, though, you need to ask yourself is, what's my why? Why do I want to lead? I'll give you an example. When I'd been in Toastmasters about 2 years, I volunteered to coach a struggling club. I had a fellow member that was coaching with me. So there were two of us. You can have two coaches in each club. We met up. We went to the first meeting of that struggling club and we introduced ourselves. When we went in, the VP of education was setting up the meeting, laying out the voting, little voting sheets, and she was putting out name tags and all the other stuff you need to have a good meeting. When we introduced ourselves as the coaches, she said, "So, are you just here to help yourselves, or are you here to help our club?" I never forgot what she said, and I'll tell you why. Toastmasters is a volunteer organization. If you're here only to help yourself, only to get your DTM, and you really don't care about the club or its members, if you're in membership just to get that checked off the box, guess what? Your members will know that, and they do not have to do one thing to help you. They do not have to step up. If you're in district leadership, you're an area director or you're division director, and you're only serving because of self-interest, you want to be in charge, you want to be the boss, guess what? Your members do not have to do one thing to help you out. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, why am I in leadership? Am I in leadership for the right reason? Is it because I care? Is it because I want to help other people to grow and to build? Because I want to help our club be successful? Because I want to help our district be successful? Why are you in leadership? Once you've defined why, make sure you understand who you are leading for. Who are those members that you're leading? Is it your club? Is it your division, your area, your district? Who is it that you're leading for? And finally, make sure that you can communicate your why clearly to your who. Make sure that you can communicate clearly to those members who are following you why you're there and where you hope to take them and how you're going to get there, because that's very, very important. It's critical that you start with your why. Believe it or not, according to Simon Sinek, your answer to why is a direct relationship to how successful you will be in your project. That's interesting. All right. Leadership styles. And there are a lot of leadership styles out there. There's a lot of different models. This is just one that I picked. Transactional depends on rewards and punishments. Transformational motivates everyone to be the best they can be. Entrepreneurial looks at the big picture. And then servant leader, and I think someone else mentioned servant leader earlier. They motivate by example, by serving other people. All right. I have got let me stop sharing just for a second. I want to pop this site into chat. And I want you guys to click on it. And see if it brings up a website for you. I want you to take a quick look at it. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen now. Let me find the website. Okay, you should be on this website. It's called Mind Tools. How good are your leadership skills? If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see some text where it's talking about leadership skills. How good are your leadership skills? Here is a really brief test that I want all of you to take. Just take a couple of minutes right now, run down this list. There's only 18 questions. You select from not at all up to very often. Run through that list really quickly. And at the bottom, it will ask you to submit your results and it will tally them for you. It will summarize them for you. So take a few minutes and do that now.
Hey, Stacy.
Yes, Skip.
I just want to be sure I'm doing the right thing. Let me go back to the other screen here. I think I've got what you're talking about, but it's these 18 questions here. The first one is when assigning tasks, I consider people's skills and interests. Is that what
Yes.
you're talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay,
That's it.
yeah, good. Okay, just want to be sure.
Okay. How are we doing on our questions? Anybody need more time? Just raise your hand if you need more time. We'll take a little bit more time. Okay, Betsy, you need a little more time. Anybody else? All right, make sure that you calculate the total at the bottom. And they will give you a score based on your answers to the question. Now, this is the one that I did. So I'll go ahead and I've taken this a couple of times. Depending on how you answer, it comes out a little differently. But once you get your total, my total is 65, then you scroll down and it interprets that score for you. So how well are you doing in leadership? Do you need to work on some things? Or you're okay as a leader, but here's a couple of things you can do. So how are you doing? And then if you scroll on down below that, it gives you some personal characteristics of you as a leader. And then also it breaks each of those questions down into different categories. So for instance, questions 2 and 8 deal with self-confidence. So here's how you did in the self-confidence category. Questions 10 and 17 are about positive attitude and outlook. All the things that we know go into making a good leader. Questions 5 and 15 deal with emotional intelligence. You'll notice on each of these questions, not only does it talk about how you scored, it also gives you some suggestions on things you might want to work on. Now, a lot of these are tied to this particular website, and you can go get other classes here. But I think it's interesting because it gives you an idea of the kinds of things that maybe you want to work on to improve your emotional intelligence, for instance, or your transformational leadership. Are you compelling? Do you have a compelling vision for the future, and are you able to communicate that? How about motivating people? Can you motivate? How good are you at being a role model? Managing performance, providing support and stimulation for each member of your team. And then there's at the bottom, there's some key points and some notes that you might want to take a look at. So I think that's really interesting. Let's go back to our slides. Did anybody want to share how you did on that particular exercise? Raise your hand. Anybody want to share? How did you do? Yes, Teresa, how'd you do?
I got, wait, somewhere here, total 67.
67, that's good. Very good. And did it give you some areas that you might want to think about looking at, working on?
Yes, it did. It broke it
Excellent.
down.
Excellent. Good, good, good. Valerie, how about you?
My score was 61.
Very good. Very good. And did it give you some suggestions on things you might want to look at?
Yes, it did.
Good. This is just one tool that's out there. There are a lot of other tools out there. This is just one that I happened to find. It was fun. It was easy, but it also gave me some pretty good information about some areas that I might want to think about and look at. And again, it depends on how you answer the questions, and you're answering the questions for any particular time in your life. For instance, next week, you may have learned some additional skills. If you go back and take the test again, your answers may change. But this is a kind of a place to go to get you started on what leadership skills do you need to improve on. Qualities of a good leader. Believe in yourself. That talks about the self-confidence that Toastmasters teaches, right? How to manage your emotions. That's a big one. Aspire to inspire. Lead by example and be supportive. So those are all qualities of a good leader. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about Toastmasters and District 63 specifically, and the leadership opportunities that are available within the district, because that's a pretty big deal. And hopefully we can encourage all of you. I know you're serving in club leadership now, but think about stepping up into district, so area, division, or district leadership as well. Most of you have probably seen this at one point or another. This is how Toastmasters views their organization. At the very top, the most important person at the very, very top is the member. That's each individual, each one of us. Each member belongs to a club, and of course, our clubs have leaders. Each club belongs to an area. There's an area director. Each area belongs to a division. There's a division director. Each division belongs to a district. There are district leaders. The district belongs to a region, and the region to the world. So I like to think of it like this, because it breaks it down into something that everybody knows about. You're a resident who's a part of a community, a city, a county, a state, a country, and then the world. That's kind of the way Toastmasters is organized. Within our clubs, we have 7 officers officer roles right now. Now some clubs have some additional officer roles they've added, like for instance, Zoom Master might be one of them. There are others, but basically we have 7 officer roles that are recognized by Toastmasters and that you receive credit for serving. Club President, VP Education, VP Membership, Treasurer, VP of Public Relations, Secretary, and Sergeant at Arms. Similarly, the district has roles that are very similar to these. So instead of a club president, the district has a district director. Instead of a VP of Education, they have a program quality director. Instead of a VP membership, they call it club growth director. A treasurer for the district is called a finance manager. A VP of Public Relations is called a public relations manager. A secretary is called an administration manager. Now, there is no corresponding role for the sergeant at arms, but they do have a couple of roles that we did not mention that we don't have at the club level that we do have at the district level. And that is a division director and an area director. So we'll talk a little bit about these roles very briefly. This is the current structure of District 63. We have 72 active clubs as of today. We have 16 areas. So those clubs, each of those clubs belong to an area. There's 4, maybe 5 clubs to an area. So there's 16 areas. Each of those areas has an area director. The area directors report up to the division. So we have 4 divisions, B, C, D, and E. And each of those divisions have a division director. The division director then reports up to the district leadership. So that's kind of the way we're organized. And of course, District 63 is a part of Region 6. Area directors. We mentioned area directors and that each area has a director. So what exactly does an area director do? An area director is responsible for overseeing the 4 or 5 clubs that are assigned to him or her. They are there to help your club be successful. They will come at a minimum twice a year, but we encourage them to come more often. On those 2 official visits, they will do an area visit report, a club visit report. And what that is it's their impressions of your club. How are you doing? Are there areas where you need help? Are there areas where you excel? Are there things that you could share with other clubs? Where can the district help you be more successful? The purpose of it is to help us identify things that are working, number 1, and also areas in the district that we might be struggling and might need some additional help so that we can get to you and help your club before your club gets to a point where we can't save it. So that's our goal, is to save your club. They're there, so they'll visit twice a year. They will help you with club success plans. They can help you conduct officer installations if you want them. They can help you brainstorm ideas to help your clubs get better. They will assist with club speeches. If you need help doing a speech contest within your club, they are an excellent resource, and they can help your club get a coach or a mentor. So if your club's struggling and you need help, talk to your area director. They will also host area council meetings. I encourage you, if you are invited to an area council meeting, to please make every effort to attend. What that is it's pulling together officers from each of the clubs within an area so that you can support each other. You do that by talking about some of the issues that you're having, maybe sharing ideas about what worked for my club that might work for your club. You also can help each other out by helping volunteering, showing up for meetings, showing up for the other club's meeting, show up and help them through a speech contest. Work together. So find a sister club and partner up. They will also host the area speech contest so that you know that if your club holds a club contest, the next level up, your winner will go to the area contest. Area directors are responsible for those contests. They identify future leaders, and also they are the first line of communication to the district. They report up to division directors. So the division director will support the area director. They'll help out with any club visits. If for some reason or another they need to step in and do a club visit for somebody, they will help with that. They will also help with club coach assignments. They are responsible for makeup training for officers. That's what we're doing here tonight. They're also responsible for division speech contests. They develop a division success plan. They help identify potential new clubs that might be coming into the district. They work with future leaders by mentoring them and identifying them to the district. And then they also facilitate council meetings, at least 2, more are required, but at least 2 within the year. The division council consists of all of the area directors and any of the club officers who want to attend. Here are our division directors for this year. I wanted to give you a picture so you'd know who these folks are when they come around. Hopefully I've got all the names right. Stanley C is Division B. Gay Halliburton is Division C. Bert Copeland, of course, our own Bert, is Division D, and Jeff England is Division E. Ahmad shaking his head. I got it right. All right. Admin manager. Remember the admin manager is like the secretary in your club. She's responsible for maintaining historical records for the district, recording and distributing meeting minutes, scheduling meetings, doing whatever. Nikisha is our admin for this year. There is Nikisha in case you need to see her. All right. Public relations manager does a lot. That's your PR person. Remember the VP PR? They're responsible for advertising your club. Well, at the district level, they're also responsible for helping to advertise your club and all the other clubs in the district. So they can coordinate open house flyers, club events, area, division, and district contests, training, anything else that's going on. They communicate directly to the members. If your club has a special event, take it to the public relations manager, and they can make sure that it is put out on Facebook at the district level, also in the district newsletter. They can communicate it far and wide and hopefully get a lot more people involved in it. Sonia Van Hook is serving her second year as our PR person. She does Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and any of the rest of them that you can think of. She opened a TikTok account this last year, and she's actually posted to TikTok, and we've gotten a lot of views on TikTok, believe it or not, for the district. So that has been very helpful. She understands the rules regarding how you use the Toastmaster branded material. So if you're going to use a Toastmaster logo on something, run it by Sonia. She can make sure the colors are correct, the text is correct. She can check all of that stuff. She is the expert for our district. Finance manager oversees and manages the budget for the district. Just like your treasurer takes care of the club treasury, the finance manager takes care of it at the district level. That means that they check out all of anything that's paid for. They make sure that we have receipts, that we can back up anything that we've done. They manage that budget so that we do not run over budget. Grace Johnson is our finance person for this year, but I did not have a picture of Grace. Sorry. All right. Next is our club growth director, Jason Cook. Jason is the 3rd ranking officer for the district. So when we talk about the trio, Jason is one of the trio. He is responsible for marketing and building up not only your club, but also new clubs. I've had a lot of questions about why are we building new clubs when my club's struggling? Well, I tell you, during COVID, we lost a ton of clubs. When the companies shut down, the clubs shut down at the same time. If we were not working toward getting new clubs in place, we would no longer have a district, because we have to maintain a minimum number of clubs, a minimum number of areas, a minimum number of divisions in order to remain a district. If we lose clubs, then we'll get too small to be a district and we'll have to roll into another district. We do not want to do that. In addition, the club growth director is responsible for assigning sponsors and mentors to brand new clubs and coaches to struggling clubs who qualify. They also help identify and mentor future leaders. Program quality director. Hey, Ahmad's here tonight. The 2nd ranking officer in the division. He's also a member of the trio. He oversees the education, just like the VPE of your club. He oversees the education, but it is for all of the district. He is responsible for TLIs and makeup TLIs. He's responsible for the spring conference. He's responsible for making sure that our clubs are running quality meetings. He also identifies and mentors future leaders. So if Ahmad comes around and says, "Oh, I think you might be good," you better listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. And finally, our district director, the 3rd part of our trio. She's the highest ranking officer in the district. She appoints district leaders and committees. She oversees the day-to-day operations of the district. She empowers, inspires, supervises. Remember all those good things we said that a leader should do? She also presides over any district meetings and identifies and mentors future leaders. Kristen Phillips is our district director for this year. Okay, now, why serve as a leader in Toastmasters? Why would you want to do that? Well, of course, a big part of it is it does help you get your DTM. It is a requirement that you serve at least 1 year in district leadership in order to get your DTM. So, of course, that's a reason to serve in leadership. In addition to that, you also build enhanced skills. It's a safe learning environment, just like every other place in Toastmasters. Not only that, you can influence change. If you see something where you say, oh man, I wish we did this, guess what? Step up into leadership. You can make that happen. Make sure that you have a voice. That's what leadership is about. So there's lots of good reasons for you to be a leader within District 63. What if you're interested in stepping up in leadership beyond your club? If you want to get into area, division, district leadership, contact your area or division director and let them know. Sometime this fall, they will also appoint a leadership committee chair. You can let them know directly if you would like. All of them will put your name on a list. Then sometime between January and March, the leadership committee will get in touch with you and interview you and get you to fill out some paperwork. The term of office for district leadership is July 1st through June 30th. So 1 whole Toastmasters year. If you're interested in serving as a club leader, and most of you are serving as club leaders now, talk to your club president or any other club officer. Elections are usually in the May to June timeframe. And again, the term is the same, July 1st through June 30th. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, our chief want is someone who will inspire us to be what we know we can be. I love that quote. I think they're right. I think we all want to be inspired. We all want to have someone who can help us be more than we are and what we know that we could be if we just had the right leader. And then this is probably one of my favorite quotes that I found. It is by Lao Tzu. He is the founder of Taoism. He is an ancient Chinese scholar. And he said, a leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, we did it ourselves. That's the mark of a good leader, that you can lead your people to the point where they think they're making all the decisions, they're making all the accomplishments because that's what they should be doing. They're being their best selves. Okay, questions and answers. Are there any questions about our presentation tonight? Anything you want to ask about leadership or leadership within the district?
I was wondering if I can get a copy of your presentation.
Absolutely, Barbara. I'll be more than happy to share with you.
Teresa.
As a matter of fact, I sent a copy to Bert, and Bert said that he would put it up on the, if not the district website, he'll put it up someplace. We'll get Bert to do it for us. How's that?
All right.
Yes,
thank you.
You're welcome. Chris.
I've been thinking a lot about how leadership is viewed by different generations. Right, we hear about Gen X, baby boomers, Gen Y, Gen Z, millennials, and all this stuff. I think Toastmasters in general needs to do a better job at making our marketing like more or to better address the different generations. Can you speak a little bit to that, Stacci?
You know what, Chris? I think you are right. That's one thing I guess that all companies struggle with is how do we accommodate all of the newer mindsets that are coming in? How do we account for those? And you and I both know, probably everybody here knows, Toastmasters is a big ship and it's hard to turn that whole ship at one time. I think one of the best things that we can do is to start applying those kinds of changes at the club level. Let me give you an example. and we've talked about this tonight. I know we talked about this in the first presentation that we had. We talked about COVID and how COVID affected everybody. Well, when COVID first happened and they sent everybody home and said nobody can meet in groups, guess what? Toastmasters didn't say anything. They just kind of waited. Well, at the district levels, we didn't wait because we knew if we waited, our clubs would be gone. We immediately jumped into action. We bought Zoom accounts for everybody. We encouraged as many people as possible to jump in to Zoom as quickly as possible. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like that, but you know what? We managed to save the majority of our clubs by doing that. It was the only way to do it. Now, I think to attract those people that we're talking about, the Gen Z and all those other people, let's start at the club level. Let's start sharing some ideas about how can we market to those folks? What do they need that maybe is different from what the generation before them needed? What do they need? How can we fulfill that need for them?
Very good. Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you. Skip.
A comment, not a question, but a comment. Actually, two comments. One of the four clubs that I'm in, I was president of last Toastmasters year, and it got in serious trouble. It fell down to 6 members, and you can imagine what happened. And it caught us totally off guard. Here I was as president, and it just hit me right in the face. I had no idea we were in that bad a shape. I'm very thankful to several people, at least one of which is on this Zoom meeting here, that helped us get through it. We're not out of the woods yet. I'm no longer the president. I rotated out June 30th. But we've got another member that's the president now, and I think we're going to be okay. But I don't think we would have been okay had we not had the support of certain people on the district and I guess division level too. So that's one of my comments. The other one is about Zoom. You mentioned that some of us have had trouble accepting Zoom. Yes, I know we've got members in probably every club. In fact, in Brentwood Evening, we had one member that just refused to participate via Zoom. It's not an old guy either, a fairly young guy. But contrary to what some people might think of my generation, and I just turned 75 last month, I love Zoom. I think that's the best thing that ever happened to us with the pandemic. And I hate to say anything good about COVID, but the great thing, one of the great things for me about it is it's forced me to learn a lot of technology that I would not have learned as quickly otherwise, if ever. And I'll go so far as now to say that the vast majority of my Toastmastering will probably be via Zoom from here on out. That doesn't mean I'm going to shut in-person meetings completely. I hope to do some of both. But Zoom has been a lifesaver, not just in the Toastmasters realm, but in the church realm and everything, in the friendship realm. So those are just two observations regarding what you've talked about there.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And, you know, regardless of what generation we grew up in, we can always learn, can't we?
Mm-hmm.
Trevor, very quickly. Did you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, just a quick comment on the Gen Z. And I find myself talking about Gen Z as them, right? Well, why is it not us, right? So if you have people of that age group in your club, make them leaders, you know, make them us, so that, you know, they can have the impact and it can make, you know, bring those talents to the forefront.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Trevor, I agree with you. I'll tell you, in one of the clubs that I am in, I have been assigned a mentor of a brand new member who's just joined. As I'm serving in as a secretary for that particular club, the first thing that I did is I went to my mentor and said, could you be my backup? Because I know I won't be at every single meeting that we have. Could you be my backup? I'm hoping that I can train her up so that next year she'll take over as secretary and then I can move on to something else. So it's a great way. If you got a mentoring program, make sure you involve your mentors. All right. Bert, hopefully we used up our 60 minutes like you asked. I hope we took up all of our time. I hope you guys have had a great time and learned something in my presentation. So thank you very much. And Bert, I'll turn it back over to you.